So I know y'all see that date at the bottom of this poster when season 6 part 3 premiered on Netflix. I need y'all to just look past that and act like it dropped yesterday for the sake of this review. At long last, a fan favorite Cobra Kai, the series itself is now over. Really sad to say, this was honestly one of my favorite Netflix originals to drop ever. And just like that, it's gone. Where am I gonna go to get my karate fix? I was really watching Cobra Kai season 1 on YouTube Red. I had to get a YouTube Red subscription to watch the first season of this show, but I just love Karate Kid so much, bro. And I really am proud to see Cobra Kai turn into what it has overall this time. A property that's beloved by old fans and new. Now that the series is over, the question is, how did they end it? How did they stick the landing of this infamous series known as Cobra Kai? A lot could be said about season 6 as a whole, them splitting it into 3 parts for no good reason. That never really sat right with me, but I entertained it just because of how season 6 part 2 has started. We got introduced to the Iron Dragons, we've seen Silver. On top of that, we're in the middle of a tournament in Cobra Kai. It's gonna be boxing, you already know that's a given. So I look past the Daniel and Mr. Miyagi storyline because that was just gonna get me tight. I look past certain characters like Hawk and Captain Robbie getting hold because I love this show and I believed in how they were going to end it. And by the end of season 6 part 3, while I do feel like they did a good job at ending the series, I still feel like this 3-part format for season 6 did it no favor. And it ultimately doesn't show Cobra Kai in the best light in my opinion. We're gonna get into all my thoughts on Cobra Kai season 6 part 3 in this video. If you like anything I had to say throughout this video, I already know what y'all gotta do. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all those things. Let's just go over the story of Cobra Kai season 6 part 3 really quick before I go over individual characters, different plot lines throughout the season, and what I liked and didn't like so much about this part of the season. So we start off sometime after we left off in part 2. Obviously, this is after Quan had unfortunately passed away in the Sekai Tekai. We see everyone go back to living their regular lives for the most part after the events of the season 6 part 2 finale. Except Daniel, who seemingly has PTSD from the event. Obviously, having a front row seat to see what happened to Quan wasn't a good look. But I think this mainly stems from Miyagi killing his opponent in battle. Obviously, Quan and Axel were fighting, and it was an accidental death. We know what happened with that. I think in this moment, and we see throughout the season, Daniel is still reeling over the fact that Miyagi killed his opponent in battle. I just want to address this real quick because I feel like I'm going to forget it as the video goes on. Never liked this Miyagi-Daniel storyline throughout this season, not gonna lie. It was especially annoying in Barcelona, but it's even more annoying how it's resolved in this part of the season. So at some point in the season, we have the whole extended family, Miguel and Sam's family, at one dinner. And I forgot how it got brought up, but at some point during that dinner, Daniel's mom brings up that her and Miyagi had a conversation. He explains the reason why he ended up killing who he killed. Apparently, he had got his wife this necklace or this ring, and it had got stolen by somebody. And Miyagi obviously wasn't going for that. He tried to take things the high road at first, but it's Cobra Kai, it's Karate Kid. You already know hands is gonna get thrown. And unfortunately, Miyagi ended up taking bro's life. Now, me personally, as important as Mr. Miyagi is to this franchise, I don't think we needed an extended cut of things that Miyagi did in his past life. I think at points in this series, a lot of points actually, Daniel's obsession with Mr. Miyagi kills the series, and it just blows me. All Daniel's mom told him was that Miyagi is a human. Obviously, not every human's out here killing people, but I'm sure Miyagi didn't have a vengeful heart when he did what he did. So for Daniel to do all he did in Barcelona, to be obsessed with this subplot, basically leave his kids high and dry throughout the Sekai Tekai, not making it any better for them who were already getting cooked to begin with. It was just a bad look. Like, I never liked that storyline at all. Don't know why it was thrown in. Literally, it was a mystery that nobody was asking for. Anyway, it's 2 other characters actually that are being impacted by the events of the season 6 part 2 finale. We got Kreese, who obviously saw his student Quan die, and it's really his fault. I mean, he brought the knife to a gunfight. I think it's good to see him reel with this throughout the season and try to make amends with Johnny as the season progresses as well. He knows he can't take back what happened in Karate Kid part 2, but the least he can do is try to make amends for the right now. I thought it was a great storyline for Kreese to go down in this final part of Cobra Kai. And I think Cobra Kai did a great job of showing him slowly leave the villain role, putting the villain role all on Silver, and having Kreese be someone who you can more so root for at points. And the last character that's impacted by the events of season 6 part 2 is Silver, obviously. This man is demanding that the tournament continue to go on. And the people that run the tournament are like, we're not going to do this unless everybody that was involved agree to come back. So Silver goes on this mission to get Daniel to sign off on the forms because I think he's the only person who didn't want to go back. For good reasons, somebody died, but apparently Silver is dying too. That's some new information. With Silver, it had to be one of 2 things. Either he was dying or he was going broke. With all the investment he was putting into this karate stuff, it's no way you telling me bro is not going broke in some capacity. That's why I constantly have to say on these reviews, it really don't be that deep. They making federal cases over karate. So Daniel's perfectly okay with not going back to the tournament, but after having a conversation with Johnny and hearing that the kids really do want to go back to fighting, He agrees to sign off, and the Sekai Tekai is back on. I don't know, something about the Sekai Tekai just coming back right after Kwan's death. Well, not right after, but after Kwan's death, this kind of feels a little cheap to me. Like, yeah, okay, you moved the tournament to LA, I guess. You got all the required sign-offs to hold the tournament, but isn't it still kind of in bad faith? I don't even remember if the people from the Sekai Tekai held a commemoration for Kwan or anything like that, or a remembrance for bro. So yeah, real crazy stuff, but here we are. We start the tournament off with Miyagi-Do fighting the Iron Dragon. We got the captain's fight, Robbie versus Axel. Before I get into this fight, I will say, if there's 1 ounce of substance that Hulk and Dimitri add to this part of the season, it's preparing Robbie for this Axel fight as best as they can, because I know y'all seen bro in season 6 part 2, he cut from a different cloth entirely. So the training montage that Dimitri and Hulk set up for this man Robbie before this fight was needed, but that's literally all they do this season. Guess I'm going into a tangent because I'm tight now. Dimitri aside, whatever. Y'all really gonna do the Hulk like that in the finale? My son ain't get no fight. How we gonna end this series having one of the best fighters in this series not have a final fight? That's one thing I'll say that this season as a whole suffers from, specifically this last part, is missed opportunities. Case in point, the long-awaited fight between Sam and Tori just doesn't happen. All we get is them training before Tori fights on behalf of the new look Cobra Kai against the Iron Dragon. How do we end a series named Cobra Kai without getting the Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso of this era fighting in some kind of tournament at max capacity? The most that Sam and Tori did in this whole season fighting against each other was for the captain spot that got cut short. The little skirmish they had in season 6 part 2 that also got cut short. Y'all doing the fans a great disservice as if y'all wasn't here for when Tori was tormenting the hell out of Sam. Final fight between them two would have fed families, and we just didn't get it. We also get nothing else from Kenny or Devin in this part of the season, if you care. Not even just talking about fighting, we get little to no dialogue between these two. You went out your way to build up a potential love interest storyline between these two just to not expand on it at all in the final part. Why even build this up in the final season to begin with? A lot of characters got hold in this part of the season, I'm not gonna lie. Including Robbie. Yeah, I know y'all didn't think I was gonna let that slide. The way Axel put this boy on his back. I respect to Robbie because he did get a couple of hits out on Axel. You already know my boy moving like the Terminator. It's a miracle he was able to get any points on, bro. But to do Robbie like this in the final part of season 6 is insane work. As if he didn't just come off one of his worst stints in the series in season 6 part 2. How y'all go do bro like this? I will say I did love the Johnny and Robbie moment during this time. It was good that Johnny was there for him in his time of need. Understanding losing a fight of that magnitude and just being a father finally, it just felt good seeing these two on screen together. Anyway, after yet another L is added to Robbie Keane's resume. Sam is expected to fight Zara the next day, but she decides not to do it. And so Miyagi-Do is effectively out of the tournament, which leaves the opportunity for Cobra Kai to come back in. And when I tell y'all, I was so hyped hearing this. But then even more hyped to see Miguel specifically back in the Cobra Kai gi. I might have stood up his whole fight with Axel, I'm not gonna lie. Seeing Miguel pull out moves he was doing from seasons 1 through 4 was great to see. It really highlights how far the character has come. Like, I know I always say that him and Johnny got that father-son relationship more than him and Rob, you know, who are actual father and son. But it felt so good seeing Johnny put that headband on his head. And remembering how far Miguel has come, but also that Johnny was there every step of the way. And also, like I said in the last part, Axel was always going to be Miguel's opponent. The moment bro started interacting with Sam, we should have already knew. So my boy Miguel beats Axel, but before that, Tori done put the beats on Zara. At first, Zara was cooking her, I ain't gonna lie. But after this Zenkai boost kiss, he came in looking for smoke. She said, hand down, man down. You feel me? I'm talking about Tori was knocking her teeth out while she was on TikTok live. It was insane. But just when you think it's all over, it's actually not. Because Cobra Kai and the Iron Dragons end up tying in points to another sensei have to fight. It's a rematch between Johnny and Wolf is getting in Johnny's head, so he not feeling the best going into the fight. I ain't never seen Johnny struggle with confidence before ever in the series. It took Daniel of all people speaking highly of Cobra Kai for Johnny to put the beats on Wolf, sealing the deal and solidifying Cobra Kai's legacy. Miyagi looking down at this karate unity proud as hell. Obviously, this was a great moment for Johnny. It was honestly a great moment for all of the winners of Cobra Kai. Throughout this series, there were times where Johnny, Tori, and Miguel were all looked down upon. And to see them triumph in this fashion in the gis that they all started the series off in, it was great to watch. Other things that happened this season, Silver and Kreese done blew themselves up. I thought, how dramatic is this? But then I had to remember I'm watching Cobra Kai. Jokes aside though, I am glad that Kreese got this menace Silver off the street. Someone was really threatening to kidnap Johnny's girl and newborn baby over karate. No lie, I might make a follow-up video honestly because I feel like I didn't really get into all of my gripes with this part of the season. Especially the fact that all of it was apparently leaked. Yeah, it might need its own separate video, but for this part of the season in particular, I'm gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10. That ending carries the score. It's a good ending for the series as a whole, but does it justify the season being split into these parts? Does it justify other characters getting shafted all for the sake of the story? That'll be a video for another day though. Until then, I guess we just wait for updates on Karate Kid Legends. I've been your host Jay Suave. We gonna talk soon.